Here we are at Lawrence Municipal Airport, Lawrence, Mass. We're about to make a flight to Worcester via VFR, Visual Flight Rules. And let's get things started here. In a Cessna, we're turning on the batteries, avionics, and turn up all the panel lighting. So I like it nice and bright. This is a Cessna 172 with a Garmin 1000 cockpit. Turn on the land. I'll turn off the landing light. Turn the taxi light on, strobe light on, beacon light on. Test the fuel pump on and off. Test the standby battery. And we'll go to the Garmin 1000 display, and I'm going to shut off the mini map. It's called on the left here. I don't use that. Shut that off. Clean up the display a little bit.
Airbus 7 tree uniform, descend and maintain 3,000 feet.
All right, I'm going to request a pushback from this fella here.
Descend and maintain
Push our plane back. I don't really need a pushback, but I just want to show it to you. So he's going to come and he's going to push the plane back. Now, if we're in tight quarters somewhere, and like the plane was up against a building with the nose toward the building, I'd require a pushback. I'd have to get out and physically push the plane with a few people to help me. Or you can have, if you have one of these fellows at the airport with this machine, they can push the plane back, which is what he's going to do right here. Okay, that's far enough. I'll ask him to stop the pushback, and he does.
Airbus 7 tree uniform, please expedite your descent to 1,800 feet.
Okay, let's zoom in on the key a little bit so you can see it. Zoom in a little bit, and we'll start the engine. I'm going to adjust the trim now. The trim is, this is a trim wheel here. The trim is used to trim the plane when you have the proper attitude, and I'm setting it for takeoff. I like to have it set for 3.0. You can also set it on the yoke. Those buttons up there on the yoke allow you to set it. I just wanted to show you the trim wheel. A lot of planes don't have that buttons on the yoke. You have to use the wheel down lower and turn it with your hand. So I'm adjusting it. I like it at 3.0 for takeoff. This display on the right is part of the Garmin 1000 system. It displays a top-down map. You can actually make it display other things too, but I use it for the top-down map. And you can zoom in and out. You can zoom all the way down and look at the airport, see where you are at the airport, like I'm doing right here. Now I'm going to contact ground control and get taxi instructions.
Ground Cessna Bravo Oscar Sierra 05 Delta with Yankee request taxi to the active departure to the west.
Cessna Bravo Oscar Sierra 05 Delta taxi to and hold short of runway 5 via taxiway Alpha. Contact tower on 119.25 when ready.
Taxi to and hold short runway 5 using taxiway Alpha Cessna 05 Delta.
Alright, we just received instructions from the ground control telling us to taxi over to runway 5 using taxiway Alpha, which I'm about to do. And so here we go. The heck is this? There's a bus on the taxiway. We got to go around, go out on the grass and go around it. Huh. Wonder what the heck that is. I've never seen that before. Oh well. Get back on the taxiway here and continue on down to runway 5. If you look at the instrument panel, the Garmin display on the left displays actually what you'd see when you look out the window, and the Garmin display on the right, as I said, displays the top-down view, and you can see the plane moving along the taxiway as we taxi. These markers here point at which you're supposed to stop and contact the tower before proceeding any further, which is what I'm about to do.
Tower Cessna Bravo Oscar Sierra 05 Delta ready for west departure at runway 5.
Cessna Bravo Oscar Sierra 05 Delta cleared for takeoff runway 5 departure to the west approved.
Okay, we've been cleared for takeoff, so I'll taxi out onto the runway and prepare to take off.
Cessna 05 Delta acknowledge last transmission.
Cleared for takeoff runway 5 Cessna 05 Delta.
Alright, we're going to pull up here and stop and do our run-up tests before we take off. First we want to rev up the engine, make sure it doesn't stall, and that's so we give it a full out. I forgot to put the brake on, put the parking brake on. Now I'll rev up the engine and make sure it doesn't stall, after which I'll test all the control surfaces to make sure they work properly. The ailerons are fine, the elevator is fine, and now the rudder. And we're all set, all ready to take off. And we'll get up to about 80 knots and then we'll rotate. Rotate means that's where you take off. You rotate the plane around its axis and it takes off. They call it rotating. Actually, you just pull back on the yoke a little bit and we're off. Alright, now we want to establish a nice even climb. And then we have to turn to the heading that we want, which will take us to, we want to follow Route 495 till we get to the Concord River, which is what I'm going to do now. We actually took off in the opposite direction in which we want to go, so we're going to have to make a gradual turn back in the other direction.
Bravo Oscar Sierra 05 Delta, continue for west departure.
And there's the Merrimack River on the left side of the plane here. We make our turn. I'm going to adjust the map on the Garmin 1000 and zoom out so I can see a larger geographical area where we're going. I notice we're flying into the sun, so I'm going to do something you can't do in the real world. I'm going to change the time. You can change the weather and the time. I'm going to change it to earlier in the morning so the sun is not in our eyes. And that looks good right there. And this flight simulator is amazing. Let's take a look out the pilot's window here on the left. There's a bridge that's 495 crossing over the Merrimack River. Some factory buildings next to the river in Lawrence.
Tower Cessna Bravo Oscar Sierra 05 Delta, frequency change. Boston approach Cessna Bravo Oscar Sierra 05 Delta is type Cessna Skyhawk 2 miles west of Lawrence. Request flight following.
Cessna Bravo Oscar Sierra 05 Delta Boston approach. Squawk 1524.
Squawk 1524 Cessna 05 Delta.
The squawk code that air traffic control wanted me to set is it's the frequency you set on your transponder, which is what air traffic control uses to track your plane, and they tell you to set it to a specific frequency so that they know which plane is which. Each plane gets assigned a different squawk code.
Delta, did you copy?
Copy Cessna 05 Delta.
By the way, we're climbing to an altitude of 4,500 approximately. I'm going to level off at that altitude and keep that altitude all the way till we have to start coming down when we get to Worcester. If you look at the G1000 screen right in front of us, the numbers scrolling on the right are the altitude, and the numbers in the column on the left are the speed in knots.
Altimeter 29 or decimal 9 or 2.
Okay, the next waypoint we're looking for is the where Route 495 crosses the Concord River, and that's the Concord River right there. And now we got to find where 495 crosses it.
Generic November 562 Dreamlight Boston approach continuous planned.
Okay, I didn't see the junction of 495 and the Concord River, but if I look, I'm looking at the G1000 display on the right, and I can see we just passed over it. It's right underneath the plane, that's why we can't see it. So now we're going to turn to a heading of 243 degrees and head to Nagog Pond, which is our next waypoint. And if you look way off in the distance, there's the first pond there, then the second pond, off sort of the center left there. That's Nagog Pond, dead ahead. And we're turned to that, and that's our next waypoint. Okay, I can see from the G1000 display on the right, we're getting close to Nagog Pond. I'm going to set up higher in the seat and see if I can see it directly here. Oh, there it is, just off the front left nose there. You can see Nagog Pond through the cloud, and that's where we're heading. Alright, let's take a look at what it looks like from the outside of the plane. We'll scroll around the plane so you can look at it. There's my call sign, by the way, Bravo Oscar Sierra 05 Delta. Stands for Boston. 05 is my street number, and D stands for Dick. That's my call sign. By the way, there's Nagog Pond right there. Alright, scrolling around here. Alright, we're approaching Nagog Pond Neck. We're almost to Nagog Pond. I'm going to make a course correction now. Our next waypoint is Minuteman Airport, and I'm turning to heading to take us to that point. That's the little red dot you see on the Garmin 1000 screen on the right. That's Minuteman Airport. That's our next waypoint. Okay, we're getting close to Minuteman Airport. I'm going to sit up higher in the seat, see if I can see it now. We'll never be able to see it. We're too close to the airport. It's almost underneath the plane now. We'll take a look from the outside and see if we can see it. Oh, there it is, off our right wing. That's Minuteman Airport. Alright, our next waypoint is the northern end of Wachusett Reservoir, and we have to turn to a heading of 260 degrees. And we're turning the plane and look at the Garmin 1000 left-hand display. The left-hand display, by the way, displays the more or less the ground at what you'd see from the plane. And that display will be there whether it's rainy or foggy, so it's quite handy to have that. It displays you a ground view of what you see looking out the plane, more or less. The top of the so here's clouds, we can't see the ground, but we can see it in that display. And we just made our turn.
Generic 2 Dreamlight traffic is 1 o'clock 4 miles at 4,500 feet Cessna.
Well, if you look out the window just above the cockpit panel, you can see the Wachusett Reservoir off in the distance. Alright, jump forward a little bit in time here. We can see Wachusett Reservoir. We're getting closer. If you look at the Garmin 1000 display on the left, you can see we're almost upon it. So we're almost there. Once we get to Wachusett Reservoir, we're going to head to the south end of Wachusett Reservoir. That'll be our next waypoint. Alright, we're going to turn and head toward the south end of Wachusett Reservoir. Also, we're going to start our descent, cut back on the power, and start coming down because we have to get in close to the airport now. Okay, now we're close enough to Worcester Airport. We're going to contact the tower and get landing instructions.
Worcester Tower, Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha is 11 miles northeast with whiskey to land.
Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha Worcester Tower. Fly left base runway 29er. Altimeter 29er decimal 9er 2 and 28 flies at 8.
Fly left base runway 29er Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha.
The tower instructed us to fly left base runway 29. We're on the wrong side of the runway to do that, so we're going to have to go past the end of the runway and turn around and come back to make a left-hand turn into the runway. Alright, the airport is dead ahead, sort of halfway between the top of the cockpit panel and the horizon, that little horizontal gray area you see. We'll zoom in a little bit and you can take a look at it. Okay, we're going to go out a little ways to the left here so we can go past the threshold of runway 29, go past it and then turn around and come back so we can make a left-hand base approach into runway 29. Alright, let's take a look out the co-pilot window, and there's runway 29, the threshold of runway 29. We're going to fly past that and make a turn, come back so we can make a left base leg approach into runway 29. Okay, I think we've gone far enough. Now we're going to make a 180-degree turn to the left to line up so that we'll be perpendicular to runway 29, and we'll make a left-hand turn into runway 29, which is called the base leg, and turn to final runway 29. As we turn, you can see there's city of Worcester off in the distance. A lot of buildings. Alright, we should be getting close here. I'll take a peek in a second here. We should be getting close to making our left-hand turn. Oh, there's the runway off our left wing. Let's make a quick turn here to the left. Turning to final now. And we went a little bit past the runway, so we're going to have to come back to the left just a little bit and come in for our final approach. Alright, now the idea is to just keep it coming in smooth and slow, and when we land what we want to do is we want to just get slightly above the runway, cut the power completely off, and just try and keep it just above the runway and wait for the plane to stall. And the plane actually stalls and settles down on the runway. That's the correct way to land. So we're coming in runway 29, and want to try and keep it up, keep it up in the air. Pull back gently on the stick, keep it up, wait till we come down and land. And there we go. We're down. Okay, we're going to exit the runway right here, this yellow line. We're going to follow this yellow line and exit right.
Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha, turn next taxiway.
And there we go.
Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha, contact ground on 123.85.
Okay, 8 air traffic controls told us to contact ground control, which we will do now, and they'll tell us where to park.
123.85 Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha. Worcester ground Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha, request taxi to the gate.
Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha, taxi to gate 0 using taxiway Alpha, cross runway tree Alpha Charlie. Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha, acknowledge last transmission.
Taxiing to gate 0 using taxiway Alpha, cross runway tree Alpha Charlie, Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha.
Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha, did you hear my last transmission?
Roger, Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha.
Oh, I can see from this external view that I forgot to put the flaps up. So we'll have to get inside the cockpit and take care of that, put the flaps up.